Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Nathan ELEMENTofFROST, and we are back here yet again doing another episode review for yesterday's or last night's episode of The Walking Dead. This is Season 6, Episode 12, entitled Not Tomorrow Yet. Okay, so this episode was, right off the bat, really intense, guys. This was a crazy episode. And if you guys watched it, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It was intense. It really was. There was, at some points, where I thought somebody actually, from our main core group might die. Fortunately enough, that never happened. Spoilers, of course, if you guys haven't watched the episode, before I get really into it. Spoilers, if I can't review an episode of The Walking Dead without talking about things that happened in it. So if you're not caught up to last night's episode, maybe if you live in the UK or, somewhere else, if you're not caught up, you haven't seen Season 6, Episode 12, Not Tomorrow Yet, do not watch this episode review. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, but now you can't bitch at me. Now you don't have a reason, unless you skipped a hit, which if you did, that's on you. You know what I mean? So anyway, spoilers. So the episode starts off, everybody. Well, first off, let's just talk about what we thought was going to happen. I predicted in my prediction video, which I will leave a link in the description below if I do remember to do so. But in my prediction video for this episode, I basically predicted that they were going to assault an outpost, basically thinking that it was Negan's, main base of operations. And I got that prediction, right on the head, hit the nail on the head with that. I'm trying to make an analogy, not really working out. I do apologize. But anyway, that prediction was pretty good. I kind of predicted that. I predicted also that Morgan was going to sort of question the plan that Rick had in the church, as we seen in sneak peeks and in the promo. We seen that Rick was basically in the church, sort of developing this plan to hit them first. This is how we survive. This is how we keep this place fed. Stuff like that. We have to come for them before they come for us. Blah 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 blah. And I predicted that Morgan would question the plan. He looked a little antsy in the sneak peek, and he stood up and said something about it, basically saying, do you think that we can beat them? And Rick said, we have to. I know we can. With everything that this group has done, I don't think this is going to be a problem for us. And Morgan basically was like, well, if we know that we can beat them, why don't we use that against them? Why don't we threaten them with that? You know what I mean? Why don't we talk to them instead of going and killing everybody, right off the bat? And that is, again, another thing I forgot to do was put my phone on silent. So I apologize for that. I do it all the time, don't I? Do it all the time. So yeah, Morgan did end up questioning the plan, which I did predict as well. Like I said, if you guys want to see that prediction video, definitely go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description if I do remember to do so. But anyway, the episode starts off with a very eerie vibe to it as Carol collects supplies and everything like that from the pantry in Alexandria, and she basically gets acorns in the forest, has to kill a walker, bakes acorn cookies, and then hands them out to the Alexandria residents. Carol gives Tobin a container of cookies, and it looks like they're sort of flirting together, which was a little bit awkward, but we get to see it a little bit more, a little bit more in the episode. Something more developed between them, which I thought was pretty cool. You know what I mean? Carol finally looks like she's starting to be, a little bit happier as a person, rather than just, straight up kill everything in your path and, this is how we survive type of Carol that we've been seeing over the past, few seasons, honestly. Ever since the beginning of season 4, I'd say, is when we really started to see that development in Carol. That whole mindset of you have to kill everything and, you can't take chances like that. And we finally, it looks like we're starting to see a lighter side to her now. And like I said, that being her flirting with Tobin, which I did enjoy. I thought it was pretty cool. It added to the episode, added to her character development, in my personal opinion. And this episode, in my opinion, was pretty heavy on Carol. Now, it wasn't as mainly focused on Carol. You know what I mean? The episode wasn't all about her. But we did get to see her a lot more than we have in the previous, few episodes here in The Walking Dead Season 6, which I thought was definitely cool. I'm glad they're giving Carol some more time on screen. Carol's always a great character. You know, Melissa McBride does an amazing job with her. You know what I mean? At this point, it's her character. You know, because at this point in the comic books, spoiler alert, Carol's not actually alive. She actually never made it out of the prison in the comic book. And again, spoiler alert if you guys plan on reading the comic book, which at this point, you know, you're pretty far behind at this point, you know, because the prison was all the way back in like volume, you know, 4 and 5, you know, maybe 6, something like that. And yeah, you're pretty behind in that. But anyway, she actually committed suicide because of a bunch of different things. You know, she kept losing people and she couldn't deal with it, and she just, in the comic book, she wasn't as strong as a character as she is here in the TV show. So at this point, Carol in the TV show is now basically a neutral character. We don't know what's going to happen with her. You know what I mean? The character that's being played with Melissa McBride is completely susceptible to any amount of things, you know, that could happen here in The Walking Dead, which gets me excited. You know what I mean? They could do so much with her. She's already a very strong character. And it's amazing. She really, really is. So, anyway, Rick's group returns from the hilltop. Rick orders everyone to gather at the church and telling Carol, you know, we're going to have to fight. Morgan finds Carol at the cemetery and asks why she never told Rick that Morgan had been holding the W-Man prisoner. And Carol basically evades his question. She leaves the cemetery after placing a cookie on Sam's grave. So again, we get to see some more character development here. Her sort of feeling remorse, you know, for like what happened to Sam. Obviously, she also has the loss of Lizzie and Mika and her own daughter, Sophia, as well. And it's not good for her. You know what I mean? It's really, really not. She's lost a lot of people. And unfortunately, a lot of those people have been children. You know, starting off with Sophia back in season 2. You know, obviously ending last with Lizzie and Mika in season 4. You know, look at the flowers, the grove, everything like that. That was a heartbreaking episode for Carol. And unfortunately, you know, Sam sort of, unfortunately, you know, died as well, bit the dust as well. I was trying to find a clever way to say that. It wasn't really coming to me, so I don't know. Yeah, Sam sort of fell, you know, victim to that as well. And Carol feels, I think, that she had a part in it because she threatened Sam, sort of, you know, saying that the monsters will eat you. You'll be out there tied against a tree. Nobody's going to help you. They're going to tear you apart all while you're still alive and all while you can feel it, you know, everything like this. And it was horrible. It really, really was. But she was trying to intimidate him so that he didn't tell anybody about her stealing the guns. Which I do understand. And I think she does too, but she's not going to really forgive herself, in my opinion. So back at the church now, Rick tells the community about the deal that Maggie struck with the hilltop. He rationalizes basically the preemptively, you know, strikes against and killing the saviors, explaining that they would eventually find and attack Alexandria. You know, they actually almost killed Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham out on the road. You know, they would have found us. They would have tried to own us, and basically saying, you know, we have to go for them. We have to come for them before they come for us. And like I said, Morgan urges Rick to talk with the saviors first instead of killing them. But if you did that, first of all, you would lose your element of surprise. You know, the Saviors doesn't actually know about Rick's group. They don't know about this whole new group here in Alexandria. They only really deal with the hilltop and most likely the kingdom, which we haven't actually seen yet, which, you know, that'll be coming most likely in an upcoming episode, either that or next season. Who knows? We'll see. I'm pretty excited for that, though. We'll definitely see about that. Yeah, no one basically supports Morgan saying that, you know. Aaron actually puts a pretty good point out. You know, this has happened to Alexandria. I'm not going to let it happen again. You know, that being like the wolves attacked and, you know, everything like that. And, you know, Aaron sort of feels responsible for that. And the reason he feels responsible for that is because, remember when the wolves attacked, he actually found the bag that he used to go recruit survivors outside those walls. And he had images and photos of Alexandria, and that's how he thinks that, you know, the wolves found Alexandria and then, you know, killing a lot of people in Alexandria when they attacked. And Aaron has never really forgotten himself for it. And so he uses that as a tool to basically say, I'm not going to let that happen again. And Rick basically, declares we kill them all. And this was an eerie, really eerie feeling. And comparedness, I guess, is what you would say, maybe. There's probably another word for it, to the governor. Now, if you guys remember, back in Season 4, Episode 8, when the governor attacked the prison again, with his new group of, survivors, Tara, everybody like that, when he attacked, with the tank and everything like that, after he cut off Herschel's head, again, spoilers, I do apologize if you guys haven't watched it, I'm not sure why you're watching a review of Season 6, but the governor attacked, basically saying, we go through the gates, kill them all. And that was a really, true to the story comic book line that he used there. And like I said, it just, for me, it was eerie. It wasn't really mentioned on Talking Dead or anywhere else. But when Rick says, we kill them all, I was like, well, shit. You know what I mean? That sounds oddly familiar, if you will, to something else that we heard in the past. And it does. It's the exact same line. We kill them all. Carol lies in bed now, unable to sleep. She opens a journal and lists all the people that she killed. She's sort of keeping a hit list, if you will. Or maybe not a hit list. A hit list is probably people that you will kill. But anyway, she's keeping a list of everybody that she's ever taken a life from. And it says R, K, D, L, which are all obviously abbreviations. L meaning probably Lizzie. Terminus, Courtyard, 37. Candle Woman, which obviously we can presume is Mary from Terminus, the mother there. WS7, which could be, 7 wolves maybe. Wolves 7, you know what I mean? Could be something like that, I'm not too sure. And then she solemnly circles the tally at the bottom, saying 18. So she has killed 18 people in this apocalypse so far. And judging by what's going on, near the next episode, it's probably going to be, it's going to be probably growing, you know what I mean? So anyway, she's had to do some pretty hard shit, you know what I mean? She really has. And that's that. So anyway, Maggie tells Glenn that she intends to go with them on the Saviors to the Saviors compound, but assures them that she'll stay on the perimeter. Karen joins Tobin outside his front porch, and he admits that Carol is capable of doing things that basically terrify him, and adds that many Alexandrians see her as a mother figure. And but he says that she's something else to him, and then this is where they get closer, and they actually end up kissing. Basically, they end up kissing. And like I said, I thought this was kind of cool. A little bit of a lighter side to Carol. Maybe starting to see her turn around and regret all this killing that she's done. For example, the KD, that could be Karen and David. You know what I mean? As far as the R goes, I'm not too sure who that would be. I really have no idea who R would be. But there's R, K, D, L. So Karen, David, Lizzie, everybody at Terminus, that, everything like that. You know what I mean? I sort of, Karen and the KD just sort of came to me when I was thinking. And, yeah, that could be, guys. I'm telling you, that could be. Who knows? Abraham now packs his bags and tells Rosita that he's leaving her. Rosita cries, demanding an explanation, and basically he says, as hard and as cruel as this line may seem, it's the truth. It really, really is. He says, when I met you, I thought you were the last woman on Earth. And he says, you're not. Now, that's really, really harsh in my personal opinion. Like, when he first did this, I was like, wow, you're a dick. You could have fucking, broke it down to her an easier way or something like that, whatever. It's not really too important, but he did leave Rosita. Obviously, him wanting a piece of Sasha. He wants Sasha instead of Rosita. And I mean, if you like somebody, I mean that it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do, and you got to follow your heart, I suppose, is what you really got to do. All right. So basically, after that, Denise finds Tara, everything like that. They talk about her going away on her run, stuff like that. Not really too much there to talk about or anything like that. At a meeting now to coordinate the attack, Andy from the hilltop, the guy that Rick actually asked along from the hilltop to help guide them into the compound, draws a map of the Savior's compound for Rick, Maggie, Daryl, Glenn, and Michonne. He basically explains that the main building has one entrance, guarded by 2 men, and Rick basically proposes that they attack at night while everyone is asleep. He plans to walk right in through the front entrance. He basically says, they want Gregory's head, obviously the leader of the hilltop. That was the plan. They go kill him, bring his head back, and they would release his friend. He basically says, we're going to give it to him. Obviously not the real Gregory, but he does have a plan. The next day, Rick's group basically comes down, caravans down the road en route to the Savior's compound. Rick orders everyone to separate on foot and reconvene in a couple of hours. This is actually where we get to see Father Gabriel and Rick sort of chat. Rick basically says, there's no turning back, and he basically asks why he's still, wearing his priest outfit and everything like that. And he basically says, I want to be who I was. He's still who he was, and it'll be harder for them to see him in the dark. That he sort of makes a joke out of it. Rosita tells Carol that she nearly blurted out Morgan's secret to the W-Man at the church meeting, or about the W-Man at the church meeting. He doesn't want to kill, Carol basically says, defending Morgan, which we wouldn't really have seen before, which is sort of weird. We always seen her fighting with Morgan about, you have to kill. Morgan always saying you don't. But now we see Carol sort of defending Morgan. He doesn't want to kill. And she basically, Rosita comes back, none of us like doing it, but we have to do it. Shit happens. And now in the woods, Glenn and Heath kill several walkers and share their anxiety about killing the Saviors, having never killed living people before. And this is where Glenn actually saws off a walker's head. So their plan basically is to get a walker's head that looks similar to Gregory. They want to get somebody who looks similar to Gregory so that they can basically trick him, saying, this is Gregory's head, stuff like that, whatever. That's their plan. And anyway, fun fact, if you guys didn't know that, they actually never killed a living human being. We didn't really know too much about Heath, but as far as Glenn goes, he never killed a living human being before. He's never done it. He's never killed anybody who has not been a walker. He's never done it. He's never taken a life at all, even for self-defense. He's never done that. He basically says, I have always got lucky. And Heath basically declares, I've been lucky too. The group reconvenes on the road where Rick proposes that they attack a couple of hours before dawn. Carol pulls Rick aside and basically scolds him, if you will, for bringing Maggie along on the mission. She's pregnant. What the hell are you doing? And she insists on staying behind to help actually Maggie guard the perimeter. So we get to see Carol being a lot more protective of her people than, Rick is and stuff like that. Basically saying, she never should have come in the first place. She's pregnant. She shouldn't be out here in the first place. Why would you let her come out here? I'm staying behind and I'm going to help her. And Rick basically gives her the okay. You know what I mean? She scolded the hell out of him, I'll tell you that much. And I thought that was really interesting. We're seeing more and more Carol development, character development rather, from Carol. We've seen a lot of it, you know what I mean? She's come from a really, really weak wife, in Ed back in season 1, to, someone who lost her child in season 2, to, starting to develop into a survivor in season 3, getting better with a gun and everything like that. Season 4, to becoming, if you want, somebody who has to do what she has to do in order to survive, in order to keep her people safe, and killing Karen and David because they were sick. She tried to stop the spread of disease. Season 5, she killed everybody in Terminus, pretty much, and saved her whole group, Rick and everybody like that, from being slaughtered. And then in season 6, just, being an absolute badass in Alexandria, fighting off the wolves, fighting with Morgan, having a sort of internal fight with him, and, now developing into a person who looks like she's starting to find a reason not to kill people. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if she just used this as an excuse to stay behind because she didn't want to kill anybody else, she wanted to just sit there and protect Maggie, or she's actually wanting to legitimately protect Maggie because she thinks that Rick was wrong for bringing her out there. Anyway, that's that. Rick, Jesus, and Andy size up 3 decapitated walkers, the heads of the walkers, and decide which one looks most like Gregory. Jesus picks a head but remarks that the nose is different. Rick grabs the head and basically punches the walker head in the nose a bunch of times, basically, saying that Andy could tell the saviors that he broke Gregory's nose in the struggle because Andy's hand is actually broken. And Andy basically says, those motherfuckers are scary, but they have nothing on you. Obviously didn't say motherfuckers, but, he basically says, they're scary as shit, but they have nothing on you, pointing out that Rick is a lot more scary than the saviors are. And he's not completely wrong. You know what I mean? Rick can be scary. Rick can definitely be scary. He picked up a walker head and started punching it in the nose. You know what I mean? What's more frightening than that, I guess, if you want to say that. That night, anyway, Andy drives up to the Savior's compound and announces that he has Gregory's head. 2 guards walk out and inspect it. Satisfied, one of the guards goes inside to get Craig, which is obviously, his friend, everything like that. Rick's group ambushes and kills the other guard, and then kills the first guard when he returns with Craig. So they kill those 2 guards, and Rick's group basically sneaks into the compound. This is where it got really, really intense, and this is where I didn't know how it was going to go. You know what I mean? Anybody could have died at any time. Bullets were flying after a while, and it got really, really antsy. You know what I mean? So anyway, they sneak into the compound. Rick enters a bedroom and quietly plunges a knife into a man's head as he sleeps, which is, again, really, really scary. You know what I mean? He's sleeping. He has no line of defense at all. Rick sort of just comes up like the guy's a walker, shoves the knife into his skull, and that's that. His life's over. He didn't have a chance to fight back at all. Which I thought was, really, really dark. You know what I mean? I really did. In another room now, Glenn and Heath are basically grim, as we actually get to see a really big moment in Glenn's life. And unfortunately, he finally had to do it. They entered the room, and Glenn first shoved his knife into a guy sleeping, right into his skull, killed him. He got his first kill out of the way, and he didn't enjoy it. He didn't enjoy it, man. It broke him. It really, really broke him. He started to sob, and it was honestly heartbreaking for him. We finally get to see Glenn actually kill a human being, and Heath was about to do it to the other person in that room, and Glenn basically, told him not to do it, put his hand there, and Glenn actually did it himself. Basically, a way of saying, I've already got my hands bloody, don't get yours bloody, it doesn't feel good. I'm telling you, let me do this. And he basically does that for Heath, which is a very, very nice way, to sort of see that relationship grow, because I feel like Glenn and Heath are actually starting to become pretty good friends, in my personal opinion. Now, they find a trophy wall of Polaroid photos, showing the bodies of Savior victims, all of whose heads have been crushed. This is Glenn and Heath are looking at the photos on the wall, and this is really fucking freaky, man. Because this is I'm not going to spoil anything that happens in the comics, but this is some hardcore foreshadowing, dude. I'll tell you this much: it involves Negan and a baseball bat named Lucille. That's all I'm going to say. It did some pretty serious foreshadowing. And I honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want it to happen because I've already went through it in the comic books. But man, fuck. Oh, that's all I can say. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. Tara, Gabriel, Andy, Jesus, and Craig wait outside in a car. Tara confesses to Gabriel that she told Denise basically that she loved her, but only did so to hide her misgivings about their mission to kill the saviors. Jesus asks Tara, if she really loves Denise anyway, and Tara says that she does, and basically Jesus says, so you know what you're fighting for, and that's what she's fighting for. Honestly, that is what she's fighting for. Abraham covers for Sasha as she tries to open a locked door. Savior discovers them, basically coming out, I believe, out of the bathroom. So a guy comes out of the bathroom, a Savior. And in the midst of an ensuing struggle, he gets stabbed in the chest a few times by Sasha, he actually turns around and pulls a fire alarm. So the rest of the saviors that are not dead yet, that have not been killed in their sleep by Rick's group, are now awake. And they know that they are being assaulted. So, he pulls an alarm. Maggie and Carol hear the alarm from their perimeter post. Maggie insists on going to help. Carol says, you're staying here. You have to stay, you have to stay safe. You have a child coming. You're staying here. There's no way I'm letting you go in there. Tara now tells Jesus to drive back to the hilltop with Craig to uphold the deal. Jesus asks Andy to take Craig back so that he can stay behind and help. Rick's group fires at the saviors, who are now awake and fighting back. Aaron stabs a savior in self-defense. Tara shoots at some of the saviors that are fleeing the compound. Glenn and Heath run into the armory with the saviors basically on their heels shooting at them. And this is another moment that we get to see Glenn avoiding death. How much longer can you do it? You know what I mean? Honestly, how much longer can we do it? He hid under the goddamn dumpster. You know what I mean? He hid under the dumpster when he was saving Maggie from the horde in Alexandria. He got cornered at the wall and almost died there as well. Just Abraham showed up and saved his life. And now he's sitting here getting shot at, running down a hallway, dives behind a door in the armory, and avoids death again. And basically Glenn and Heath open fire at the door and kill a lot of people on the other side of it, man. A lot of people. So even though Heath did not kill a person and Glenn sort of saved him from that, he has killed a person now. But it's not really a cold blood, you know what I mean? They were chasing him, they were shooting at him, they had to do what they had to do to survive. But in terms of Glenn doing what he had to do in that bedroom, shoving a knife into a guy's head as he sleeps, Heath is still safe from that, but Glenn has definitely blood on his hands from that. And anyway, that's that. Rick's group fires at the saviors, who are basically now awake, like I said, and fighting back. Outside, Gabriel recites a prayer for an injured savior before shooting him, which we actually get to see Gabriel shoot a guy with a rifle, a bolt-action rifle. We actually get to see him say a prayer, and it was actually pretty damn badass. Now, I'm not religious or anything, but he did say a pretty epic prayer or something before he shot him. And we can, again, more character development, you know what I mean? This time in Gabriel. He's looking stronger and stronger by the episode, and I definitely like it. I really, really do. With the fighting over now, Rick's group emerges from the building. They find a small parking lot of cars. Heath and Tara basically immediately leave for their scavenging mission. They're supposed to go on a 2-week run or whatever. Back in Alexandria now, Morgan welds together the metal gate to a prison cell. He takes a break and becomes lost basically in thought. Cut back to Rick and everybody. A savior now tries to escape on a motorcycle. They thought they killed everybody. And a savior tries to escape on a motorcycle, which Daryl recognizes as his, as we all know. Dwight. Spoiler alert, it was Dwight. Or D, whoever you want to call it. The guy who stole his motorcycle and his crossbow. That's his motorcycle. It's not Dwight, but it is his motorcycle. So Rick's group shoots at the savior, shoots the savior off the bike, and Daryl tackles him to the ground as he tries to flee. Daryl demands to basically know, where the savior got the bike. As Rick holds a gun to the savior's head, a woman speaks through the savior's walkie-talkie that is on the ground, ordering Rick to lower his gun, basically saying, "We've got Carol and Maggie, and we're thinking that's something you want to chat about." And that's where the episode cuts off. So, Maggie and Carol are now held hostage. There's one savior left from that little outpost. Spoiler alert, it is an outpost. We actually get to see Michonne sort of say, there's one thing I'm wondering, which one of those people were Negan? Spoiler alert, none of them were, because that was an outpost. And I can't wait for next episode. They're sort of at a standstill. They're all pointing guns at, at the savior and the woman, or whoever it is. I actually know because I've seen some sneak peeks, but we'll go over that in the prediction video for this week's upcoming episode of The Walking Dead. But they've got Carol and Maggie held hostage now. So they have a savior, and they have Carol and Maggie. That is pretty much it, everybody. Hopefully you guys did enjoy today's episode review video. If you guys did agree with anything that I said, if you guys liked the episode or anything like that, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. I'll have a little bit of a discussion. What you guys thought of the character development with, Glenn and everybody like that. He finally had to kill a human being. And just the assault on the Savior's outpost and everything like that. I thought it was a really, really intense episode, and I had some feelings at some points that some people, when bullets fly, something was going to happen. I'm just glad that it didn't, and that is pretty much it for now. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Like I said, let me know in the comment section below what you guys want to see from me, and we'll have a little discussion down there what you guys thought of the episode. Tune in on Thursday to see Season 6, Episode 13, The Same Boat. That's what the episode name or title is called. It's called The Same Boat. So Season 6, Episode 13, The Same Boat. Tune in Thursday to see my episode predictions for that episode. I can't wait for it. We have some pretty cool promos and a pretty damn good sneak peek. So hopefully you guys are excited as I am. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now, everybody.